Okay, welcome to lesson 2, all about poetry and our Edward Lear poems. So yesterday we looked at the features of limericks. So today we're going to start to try and write our own limericks. So I hope you're up for the challenge. To start us off, though, I'm just going to read some more of my favourite limericks from my book, Edward Lear's Nonsense Poetry. That I keep in school, but maybe when you get back to school we can share it together. So here's another example. There was an old man who said, "How shall I flee from that horrible cow? I will sit on this stile and continue to smile, which may soften the heart of that cow." Okay, remember it's a little bit silly, a little bit of nonsense on there. Okay, and here's another one. There was an old man on the border who lived in the utmost disorder. He danced with the cat and made tea in his hat, which vexed all the folks on the border. Okay, a little picture of that one. And I think we'll do one more, and I'm going to pick this one at random. Here we go. So, we've got a nice little picture to go with this one. There was an old man in a tree who was horribly bored by a bee. When they said, "Does it buzz?" he replied, "Yes, it does. It's a regular brute of a bee." Okay, and then you can see those features. So what we're going to do now is we're going to quickly check what the features are of limericks. So I'm going to read through some of the features of limericks, and then we're going to have a go at writing our own. So your learning objective today is to write your own limericks. Okay, so now we're going to look at what we learnt yesterday, which was in our last lesson. What have we learnt about limericks? So limericks usually start with a set phrase or set phrases. So there was an old lady, or there was an old man, or there was a young lady, and then from somewhere or called something. Okay, they have three very rhythmic lines, and we did the dum dum dum, and that's why I asked you to read some out in our last lesson, so you can get used to that rhythm that you're trying to look for when you write your own today. Okay, and then you've got lines 1, 2 and 5 must rhyme, and lines 3 and 4 must rhyme. Okay, and so you've got the rhyming pattern of A A B B A. So that last line links back to the first and second lines, the fifth line. And so you need to make sure that they go on 5 separate lines. And I would add on here that there are things like it needs to be funny, it needs to be a little bit random, or a little bit weird. Okay, so it can be a really unusual, and I want to see your creativity today. So those are the things that you need to remember when you're writing your limericks. Okay, so now we've had a refresher about what the features are of limericks. Now we're going to see how we make limericks. So here's a little example of an opening line. There once was a man from Kilbride. Now down below I've put some different lines that could go with this poem. So if we put it together, what I've started to think about is words that might rhyme with Kilbride, bride. So I've got tied, fried, bride. Okay, and I've also got died and eyed. So lots of words that I can start to think about putting it together. So if we look at the different colours, we can now start to think about choosing ones that fit together. So let's have a look at what I did. So there once was a man from Kilbride, and I used the red ones to say, who went for a swim at high tide. His float sprung a leak, who called help with a squeak. With a glug, he just up and died. So we can put the things into groups on post-it notes, or you can move them around and or pieces of paper, and start to move around all the sentences that you've got. So you need to make sure that your starter line is really good. So I chose Kilbride because there's so many words that rhyme with bride. So you need to choose a word that might be really helpful to rhyme with bride. So on your responses today, I've put a link to Rhyme Zone, which is a great website where you can put your word in that you want to rhyme with, and it comes up with lots of examples. Okay, so each group matched with the second line. So we've got bride and tied, bride and fried, and then Kilbride and bride at the end there as well. Okay, and then the third and the fourth need to go next, and then you've got the last line to match the starter line. So we try and match the lines 1 and 2. So we've got that A, B, B, A on each one. So let's read the green one. There once was a man from Kilbride who liked his onions fried, with burger and chips, grease dripped from his lips. As a result of his diet, he died. Okay, that's quite a funny one, isn't it? Oh, maybe not funny because he died, but just funny. Okay, there once was a man from Kilbride, the blue one, who married a plug, ugly bride. As wide as was tall, she was built like a wall. But he looked up at her height, misty-eyed. Oh, so he did love her anyway. Okay, so here are some examples of limerick starters, like a lady who came from Kildare who just couldn't decide what to wear, or there was once a sad man called Walter who was ditched by his bride at the altar. Okay, and there's a really nice, and you could hear that rhythm as well on each one. There was an old man with a beard, said, "It's just as I feared." Okay, we're trying to play around with that rhythm each time, but also we've got the rhyming couplet at the top. Okay, so here's some examples, and I'm going to read the first one out. I want you to think about what could you have as your missing words in here. So there once was a boy named Joe who dropped a big brick on his, and then you could think of something that might rhyme with Joe. He asked with a frown, "Will the swelling go?" And then you could think of something that might go in there. And the doctor said, "Yes, I think." And then it needs to rhyme with Joe again at the end. Have a pause now. Have a think about what you could put in there. So I would put, who dropped a big brick on his toe to rhyme with Joe. He asked with a frown, "Will the swelling go?" And I would put down there to rhyme that. And then, "Yes, I think so." Even though it's a different spelling, Joe, toe, and so will rhyme. Okay. So, next one. A film actor dining in Crewe found a very large bug in his... Said the waiter, "Don't shout and wave it, or the rest will be wanting one." Okay, so I would put... I'll pause the video, have a think, but I'll tell you what I put. A film actor dining in Crewe found a very large bug in his shoe. I would put shoe on that line. Said the waiter, "Don't shout and wave it about." I put on that line. Or the rest will be wanting one too. Okay, and then so again a nice funny one at the end. And then the last one. There was a woman from Crete who was so exceedingly neat. When she got out of bed, she stood on her... What rhymes with bed? And to keep from dirtying her, and then something that rhymes with Crete or neat. So I would put, she stood on her head to rhyme with bed, and to keep from dirtying her sheet. Okay, so let's have a look here. So this is the way that I would do it. So what you need, your opening line when you write your own limerick is really, really important. So something like, there was a young man called Jake. There are loads and loads and loads and loads of words that rhyme with Jake. Like cake, make, bake, lake, flake, take, fake, sake, rake. Okay, and you can use any of those to start thinking about how you can put the next bit together. So, who lived by the side of a lake, and you've got to think about having those syllables in there as well. Then he jumped in and couldn't swim. Who had a £10 which was fake. Okay, so you can use that word fake at the end. Who was as thin as a rake. That's quite a nice one as well, isn't it? So I'm starting to then plan out my ideas using that rhyme. Okay, here's another nice opening line. There was a young man from Crewe, and I've chosen Crewe because look at all those words that rhyme with crew. Do, moo, boo, new, few, blue, glue, canoe, flew, drew, Two, two, two. So you've got all the twos, and flew and stew. So don't choose something that's really tricky to rhyme. I would choose something that's easy to rhyme with. Okay, and you can use Rhyme Zone to help you with that. Okay, so now I've shown you how to create your own limerick. You've got the task now of trying to create your own. So what you need to do is on the first page of your response, I've put the features that you need to include. On the second page, I've put some limericks that just need some of the rhyming words put in. So you need to choose careful rhyming words that are going to make the poem sound funny, but also work with the features that you've already looked at. And then on the next page, I've left a few lines blank so you could start to fill in your own lines. And then on the last page, on page 4, I'd like you to try and create your very own limerick. Now that's quite tricky and that's a very hard skill. And it might take you a long, long time to keep checking the rhythm, keep checking those rhymes and making sure that it's all got all those features. But once you've completed it, it's quite satisfying and it should roll off the tongue when you read it out. So your main learning objective today is to try and follow the features of limericks to create your own. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your imagination come through in all of your limericks. So good luck with creating limericks today.